Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're feeling ready to wreck some zombies because there's a huge update that just landed and it changes a lot of the late game rhythm and the way the world feels to move through. Update 1.4 brings a proper new game plus, so you can jump back into the campaign with everything you've earned. All your weapons, gear, and progression carry over, enemies scale up, loot gets tougher, and everything you do feels meaningfully more rewarding if you want to push for higher difficulty and better drops. This also ties directly into the new legend levels system, which is the new endgame loop. Once you hit the level cap, XP no longer stops being useful. It converts into legend XP, so you can buy permanent passive upgrades, unlock a host of new weapons and cosmetic pieces, and keep growing Kyle in a way that matters long past the main story. I want to talk about how this actually changes your play patterns, because that's the part people miss when they just skim patch notes. New Game Plus isn't just restart, but harder. It's a conscious decision to make the whole run feel meaningful, to give veteran players a reason to revisit story beats and side content while still chasing incremental power. You'll be grinding for Legend XP in the same spaces you loved or hated the first time around. But the stakes are higher and the rewards scale, so the decision to go back to a zone is more strategic, not just repetitive. The Legend passive tree gives you choices. Do you pump survivability, raw melee damage, or beast mode bonuses? Those choices shape how your NG Plus runs unfold, and because higher NG Plus tiers and higher difficulty settings multiply XP, there's a real incentive to play more daringly if you want to max out quickly. Visually, the update is also massive. Ray tracing support has been added, so if you've got an RTX class GPU, an AMD RX 6000 7000 series card, or an Intel Arc that supports RT, you're going to notice richer reflections and nicer shadows in reflective surfaces and puddles, cleaner lighting transitions, and an overall more polished atmosphere in wet streets and interior spaces. That said, ray tracing is a heavy feature. Techland's notes and the community coverage both flag that VRAM, frame generation, and VSync settings will influence perceived input lag and smoothness. So it's a big upgrade for visuals, but one that you may need to tune to keep gameplay responsive, especially in high-action confrontations. Beyond content and visuals, the update is a giant bug fix, quality of life, and system sweep. The team reports well over 200 parkour and environment navigation fixes. Think ledge grabs that failed, zip lines with mismatched prompts, monkey bars and beams that didn't behave as expected, plus dozens of stability and performance fixes, and a raft of visual corrections. If you were the kind of player who kept a mental list of places that felt jagged or unfair, this patch goes after that list hard. Parkour flows better, environmental annoyances are trimmed, and several co-op stability issues were patched so matchmaking and hosting are smoother. Those kinds of fixes aren't glamorous, but they change the day-to-day feel of the game in a quietly massive way. There are also new finishing moves and a few event-driven additions. Techland is running bonuses tied to the update window, including a limited time reward if you play during the initial event window. Small but neat, and a nice carrot if you want to jump in while the community is active. The update also introduces a handful of cosmetic and weapon additions tied to legend progression, so the visual and mechanical incentives are bundled together. You don't just get stronger, you also start collecting gear that feels like an achievement rather than filler. From a content creation perspective, this patch gives you great narrative beats to riff on as you record. You can talk about the emotional arc of revisiting story missions with more power and different tools, compare the pacing between a fresh run and an NG Plus run, and show viewers how legend points reshape a playstyle mid-run. Show off a few of the traversal fixes too. A 5 or 10 second clip where a previously janky zipline now behaves cleanly makes for an easy visual beat that viewers notice without you having to explain too much. For viewers who care about technical detail, a short comparison of a ray-traced scene versus the same scene without RT makes for compelling side-by-side content, but be transparent about frame rate trade-offs so people know what to expect on different hardware. There's also an undercurrent here about longevity. By giving players a meaningful NG Plus and a progression track that persists into repeat playthroughs, Techland has effectively extended the life of the title in a way that should keep co-op groups together longer. People who finished the story and were wondering what to do next now had a path that's both reachable and rewarding. And because difficulty multipliers increase XP, players who like to self-impose challenges can climb the legend ladder fairly quickly if they want to. That's a healthy place for a game of this type to be. Not forcing a grind, but making the grind worth it if you choose to engage. Finally, the patch notes themselves read like a developer listening. New systems that the community asked for, a huge cleanup pass on quality of life issues, plus technical additions that modernize the presentation. It's a significant milestone for the title, not a tiny hotfix, and it opens up both creative opportunities for content creators and fresh goals for players who thought they were done with the map. If you want to see what's changed under the hood, the official notes and the Steam announcement list and itemized log of all adjustments, and community outlets have already started mapping the fastest routes to Legend XP and the best early investments in the passive tree. So yeah, that's the update in a nutshell. A substantial content addition, a serious polish pass, and some shiny visual toys for capable rigs, all wrapped up in a package that shifts the endgame loop into something more sustainable and fun to chase.